Hi there. I'm Rhonda Ryder, author of Delicious Alignment: How 25 Women Learn to Love and Transform Their Lives Using Abraham-Hicks and the Law of Attraction. And I'm also a Love Your Body, Love Your Life coach. And today I am super excited to interview all the way from Spain, Carina Lindberg. She is in my Delicious Alignment group. I have loved chatting with her, hearing her insights. You're going to love this interview. She is full of wisdom and all things Abraham, and I can't wait to hear what else. She is also a coach, and she's a path of least resistance coach. Oh my gosh, how cool is that? I love that.
Yeah.
A path of
Yeah.
least
I
resistance.
yeah, it's the term I use with Abraham folks, people who understand Abraham, uh,
Mhm.
who are familiar with Abraham. I use path of least resistance coach, but mostly for the public. Otherwise, I use transformational coach or
Right.
whatever. I'm not too fussed about, you know, boxes. So
Right, labels, but,
yeah,
we
yeah,
get Abraham, people get it right away,
exactly.
path of least resistance
Mhm.
coach,
Yep,
and
that's
yeah,
it.
yeah, that's
Mm.
I just love that, I love that because
Yeah,
path
me
of least
too.
resistance is
Yeah.
I read the other or heard Abraham say the other day that it is actually your path to everything
Mhm,
that you want, the path of
mhm.
least resistance, so
Yeah,
you're a path to everything you want coach.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. Isn't that what all coaches do really, or should do at least? Uh,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, be the guide to find your own guidance to your path of least resistance. That's mainly what I do. I don't go around telling people you should do this, you should do that. I tell them go within, listen within,
yeah,
listen to your heart. I talk more heart than inner being, because it's an easier concept for people who aren't naturally or who aren't coming from a religious or open background when it comes to stuff like that. So
yeah,
because inner being can feel very religious. Um,
yeah,
I know I resisted to it because I come from a very agnostic background. So um, for
yeah,
me was resistance in inner being. So um, I talk more about the heart because to me that's the same thing.
yeah, absolutely. So I want to let everyone know that today's conversation, I will be asking Karina, and we'll have a informal chat between two women about how Karina released 44 pounds in 1 year. And as we all know, it's not all about releasing the pounds. It's about the inner journey. It's not so much about the action journey. But I know a lot of people are interested in that, and I am as well. I love interviewing women about how they used Abraham and other teachings to release pounds or transform their body or simply learn how to love their body as is. In this
Mm.
case, Karina has released some pounds, and I can't wait to hear about it and ask her some questions. So let's get started. Karina,
Go, shoot.
tell me a little bit about your journey, about how you found Abraham. Let's start there. How did you
Mm.
find Abraham, and then how did it help you? Um, yeah, tell me about your journey with your body, and I'll ask you
Mm.
some more questions as we go along.
Yeah, sure. Well, um, I when I first found Abraham, that was maybe 9 or so years ago. I was fairly new to law of attraction, um, maybe a couple of years more dedicated um, learning about it. And I was a head admin in a law of attraction focus forum in Swedish. I had a blog where I wrote about stuff, not straight out law of attraction, but life and how to view upon life and things like that. And someone in this forum directed me to Abraham. And so I looked at the video and I was like, that's too weird for me. I'm not going there. And I kept on my journey, kept doing my things, kept learning and understanding about law of attraction. And then maybe a year later, I came across a video. I was inspired to go look them up, or I don't even remember how it was, but I looked at another video maybe a year later and I was like, oh, wow.
Right.
that,
It's at the
that
right
was
time.
really it. And then I
Really
binged.
ready. Yes.
Yeah, and then I binged, because that's what I do. I binge when I
You-
come across something I
You
enjoy.
binged Abraham. You
I binged
thing.
Abraham. Binged Abraham.
I've been binging for 15 years now, Abraham.
Yeah. So I binged. I've listened to others. I read others and things like that as well. And there were moments when Abraham felt too much, or I felt lost with listening to what they were saying, and went off it for a bit. But I always keep coming back.
So tell me, Carina, how did it get? Let's get right into the part about were you unhappy with your weight at that point? And tell me how you used Abraham to help you with that.
I I was a quite lost person in all areas of my life.
You were a what kind of person?
What I was a lost person in.
Oh, a loss. Okay.
Yeah, in all areas of my life, really. Not super lost, but lost enough to be in more resistance than flow. And for most of the time, at least, I had put on some weight. Again, not that much, but I kept putting on weight over the years. And but I wasn't focused on it. I wasn't focused on the weight. I was focused on other areas of my life. First, my relationship with my partner, my relationship outside of myself, more. But at the same time, when you listen to Abraham, you learn to focus on yourself and to listen to yourself as well. So everything came about through that. And I think it was maybe 3 years ago when I got really, really bad pain. And at first I thought it was my heart, but it didn't quite feel like my heart, but it felt like I had really, really bad pain in my heart area. And I was like, I listened within, and my heart said, no, it's not me. I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, what is it? What is it? What is it? And then someone in an Abraham group, in a comment on someone else's post, mentioned Candida Overgrowth. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I should look that up. That was my immediate thought. Never heard of it before. So I looked it up and I was like, oh, that's what I got. That's what it is. And when you have Candida, you have to kind of like strict down your diet a lot to get rid of, whatever the yeast infection that it is.
And that's a belief, right?
Of course.
But but I have beliefs about gluten, and I have beliefs, and
yes.
so we're just, it's okay to have beliefs. We all have them.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Yes. And before that, I had, because I used to be able to eat everything without a problem at all. And I had periods, when I was thin, I had periods when I put on weight, and I just never really saw the reason for it, because I didn't really intentionally change anything around my diet or how I moved or anything. And in the last maybe 5-6 years before this, I developed a gluten sensitivity, a lactose sensitivity, and then it just went downhill from that, and entered Candida, where I stricted it down so much because I figured, okay, so I have to go within my beliefs. I have to
Right. And
stop
you and I have
shifting.
talked about this in the
Mm,
group a lot. Yes, and I see you. So, right, working with your beliefs.
yeah.
It's not,
So
yeah, a lot of people think, oh my gosh, all these people say I can eat whatever I want and I can be thin. Why I'm eating whatever I want and it's not
mm,
working for me. Well, it's just
mm,
work with your beliefs. It's okay
yeah,
to do that. Path of least resistance. Yes.
exactly.
So go ahead.
Because that's exactly what I had been doing, because I believe in being unconditional. I believe in being limitless. I believe in thriving, and limiting and conditions put a lid on thriving. So, but so that's what I had been doing. I had been eating everything, uh, and just like, I can eat this. I can be slim, and I was putting on weight, and I obviously felt worse and worse, and ended up there. So once I had stripped away all of the things that I couldn't eat, I was left with not much. And I was like, this is really, really not what my heart desires, what my inner being wants. This is way too conditioned, way too limited. And I was like, okay, so where do I go from here? And I was like, okay, so I have to start shifting my beliefs. This is the perfect place for doing that. I'm in a good place. I'm feeling good about my body. I hadn't really lost any weight though, even though I had reduced so much of the unhealthy things, like bread and cream and butter and all those things that I love. Um, and I'm a sucker for fast food and half fabricats and things like that. I like these. I like speed when I cook, and if I want to cook. uh, and uh, and I
Yes,
was like,
I'm
okay,
excited to hear your story because I know where you
yeah,
are now.
yeah,
I just want anyone who's listening to know that where Karina's going with all this is that now she has totally transformed her beliefs. So yeah,
yeah.
and she does. Her beliefs are amazing. I mean,
Mm,
I don't know. I would love to have transition into those one day, but
mhm,
like I'm doing the path of least resistance for me, which is working with my
mhm,
beliefs. But I
yeah.
know you've had like, my hair, you've transformed your hair, you've transformed, I mean, so go ahead, tell
I
me
did,
how you
I
got
did.
from, okay, when you started to transform your beliefs. So you said, I'm going to transform
Yeah,
beliefs. Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah.
So at this point, I had maybe like 6 years of Abraham, and I was like, okay, it's time to start shifting these beliefs, because this is not how I want to live my life. I have a choice: either stay in this box to not push against my limiting beliefs and all the conditioning, or to start shifting them. And that's what I did. I was already doing a lot of work to be aware of my thoughts and to choose better feelings and better thoughts and all of that. So I just basically kept doing that. And then I decided that, okay, so we have three parts of manifestation. We have the thoughts, the feelings, and the action. And they all have to align. They all have to be on the same page towards where I want to go, towards my desire. And my desire was, at first I was focused on a specific weight, but it felt stricted. It felt constricted. It felt like limited. And I was like, oh, okay, because that weight I had picked because of, I used to weigh somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at the past for it. And I was like, okay, so maybe my inner being, maybe my heart has a different idea about where I want to go, what I want. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to focus on 1 or 2, well, kilos, because I'm in meter in the metric system. So, but like 2 or 4 pounds at a time. So I started, when I visualized, I started to just feel like slightly lighter, slightly brighter.
Mm-hmm.
And I would wake up in the morning and I would lay in bed still, and I would feel lighter,
Mm-hmm.
and just practice that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I would talk to my cells, tell them how much I loved them and appreciated them, no matter what they were, whether they were fat cells or, all of my cells, all the, what is it, like 30 trillion or something like that, I think.
Mm-hmm. 6 trillion, or yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, a lot of them
I think it's up
anyway.
to 7 trillion now. We keep growing. I know.
Exactly. So, and then just starting to one thing at a time. I picked like a few things that I wanted to add back into what I was eating, because I didn't want to just do what I had been doing, to just eat everything at once, because I knew this would be too much resistance, because my beliefs aren't moved enough yet for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked a few things, and I started to add that to my diet. And of course, I saw the negative effects of it. I could feel it, but I knew that this is just my beliefs. This has nothing to do with what I'm actually eating. It's just my beliefs around it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, but do I really believe that about this food still, that I used to believe? Do I still believe this?
Mm-hmm.
And almost always it was no, I don't believe this. Okay, so this old stuff, this old belief, let's just drop that. Let's just move away from that.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, it it it, it became clear to me, okay, so I have to back this up with the action. So, because it's so easy to start to move back into this space where you feel safe, where you feel you're comfortable, where you feel, where you will feel good. When you start to add the stuff that you want to add, and you start to get the results that you always got, then you don't feel as good anymore. It's so easy to just go back into that space of feeling good. But that's not what I wanted. That's not what my heart decided, what my inner being wanted. So it's like,
So
okay.
yeah, so you wanted, didn't you want to feel good? I'm confused. So you wanted, wouldn't you want that to feel good?
Yeah, I wanted to feel good eating what I wanted to eat.
Yes.
So, but because I still had, the beliefs weren't supporting that properly yet. So I wasn't, when I ate some of the things like gluten, for instance. When I ate gluten, my body would still react some, not as much as it used to, because I had already shifted some of those beliefs, but it still reacted. So at that point, it's so easy to because I did this. Okay, so I'm going to stop eating gluten again and work some more on these beliefs. But at some point, we have to stop doing that. At some point, we're going to have to just step into it, step into what we want, step into the person we want to be, step into the diet we want to eat more and more. So I was like, okay, so if I truly believe that I can eat gluten and my body will thrive when I eat gluten, then I'm going to have to eat gluten when I want to eat gluten. because how else? Why would I not eat it if I believe I can eat it if I want it?
So you're saying you shifted your beliefs
Mm,
about gluten, for instance, and then you could eat it without having any, eventually,
mm,
gradually you could eat
mm,
it. Like you said,
mm,
if I really believe this, if I really am shifting my beliefs, then I'm going to eat this, and I believe I'm going to be able to eat this without discomfort. Now,
yeah,
just disclaimer here, I want to say that if you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, I can't, this isn't, I tried that and it's not working for me. Don't fall into the trap of comparing yourself to other people,
no,
because again, it's about what is working for you, listening to your own inner being, listening to your body, and
mhm,
finding out what your beliefs are and what is going to work
mm,
for you. So this
mhm,
is Karina's experience. I have my own experience. I've interviewed over 50 people who have all
mm,
different kinds of experiences. So this
yeah,
is about going within, as Karina would, you know, tell you the
yeah,
same thing, going within and finding what works for you. So we're finding out what worked for Karina. So
yeah,
yes, so I am fascinated.
all about that.
I
Yeah,
Yeah, so you transformed your belief and you're able to eat
yeah,
the gluten now.
yeah.
Yeah.
I can eat anything. I can eat everything now. I've been stuffing my face with both chips in American, crisps in English, this weekend, and chocolate and cheese doodles and anything. I love that kind of stuff. I just didn't want to stop eating the things I love eating just because someone else has the belief that other things are healthier, because I believe that I have a strong belief, and this is a belief that I have grown more and more during this journey. But I have a really, really strong belief that our bodies are capable of doing absolutely anything
Mhm.
they wanted to do. And I had a confirmation with that before all this, with the experience with my hair. You mentioned it a bit before. I turned my hair wavy. It was super straight, and I turned it wavy. So in like
Well, tell us a little bit
a
about that. You
in like a
you
shower.
had
I
you
had
had
been meditating. Yeah, I had been meditating on it for a little while. I was talking to my cells, and I was telling my fat cells to, just shift into being hair cells and wavy, kind of. Just go be useful somewhere else, kind of thing. And so I had a really, really good meditation session. I was really deep into the meditation. I could really feel all my cells just thriving, being joyful. And I could feel my hair growing out curly in this meditation. And 5 minutes after I ended my meditation, I went in to have a shower, and I came out of the shower with, when it's wet, curly hair. Uh,
Wow.
so that was cool. So this was after the Candida, but before I really started to work on my beliefs around it. Before I started to eat everything, add back the things I wanted to eat, rather. So
So your hair was a lot straighter and it came out yeah, more wavy. So
yeah,
yeah, that's pretty cool to
mm,
a perfect example of what Abraham talks about.
yeah,
We can transform things with our beliefs.
most definitely, most
And
definitely, most
but I
definitely.
think it's about the feeling.
Hmm.
And about the allowing. It's not like
Oh,
using willpower or I'm gonna. visualize this into
mm,
existence.
mm,
But assuming the feeling as if it's already done, just
yeah,
seeing it
yes,
as if
yeah,
it's already done.
yeah,
And we can
yeah,
do
yeah.
that. It just shows we can,
Mhm.
when people use visualization to see their bodies the way they want them to be, it's important to remember that if there's resistance there, or it doesn't feel good to do that,
Mm.
then you're better off not visualizing at that moment. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree. I have, I don't, so I have what I believe is a condition called aphantasia. It means that when my eyes are closed, I can't recall images. It's pitch black. I can't see anything. I don't see anything. I can't recall things I hear. I can't recall taste or smell or touch when my eyes are closed. So this, of course, I had a moment during this whole, this whole journey from I started to transform myself, um, where I felt disadvantaged because when I realized that, oh, other people actually see the image of what they want, but I can't do that. I don't get the details. I don't get the details. So I can't get attached to the details when I visualize.
Details? The,
Yeah.
yeah.
So any details don't come to me. I visualize using my feelings. I visualize using my vibrations because I can feel my vibrations. Uh,
But can you say more about that? Because I'm very visual. So if I close my eyes,
mm,
I can see it.
mm,
So when you say you visualize using your vibration,
mhm.
are you talking about your feelings? How do you, can
No.
you say more about that?
The vibrations feel, yes, I feel my vibrations, but I literally feel how my cells vibrate, how the energy in me vibrates. I literally feel it when I focus on it.
Mm,
Uh, and of course I'm a very feeling person, so I use my feelings a lot. I simply, when I visualize, I just shift my feelings. I just move my feelings to, because I get a mental image, I get a mental idea, mental concept of what it is that I want.
mhm,
But I don't get details, which means that, I'm always focused on the end result, which is the feeling anyway, right? We want the feeling. That's why we want everything. It's because of the feeling.
mhm.
So um, I just go straight to that. Uh,
Straight to the
but
feeling as if you've
feeling,
already got the curly hair.
yeah,
Straight to the feeling as if my body is already at the size I want it to be. Is that what
yeah,
you mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
But very often I find that with my clients as well, it's hard to actually get into the feeling place of the end result we want at first because it's too far elite, right?
Right.
So when I was working on my weight, on my body, um, I focused on how I wanted to feel in my body, for my body, about my body, and I wanted to feel lighter. I wanted to feel brighter. I wanted to feel easier. It should be easy, and I wanted my clothes to fit without having to adjust them, or without them being too tight somewhere, or and things like that. So, but because I had a, because I couldn't reach that place, that feeling place of having lost 44 pounds, um, I just took a few pounds at a time. I just
Yeah, so
focused on a few
that's really
pounds at a
great.
time.
Yes, so you're saying that the way that you release the 44 pounds is really little by little. You
Hmm.
you didn't necessarily go to visualizing how am I, visualizing yourself 44 pounds lighter. You didn't really do that. You just
Hmm.
visualized, and you keep your eyes open, and you said, right, you don't close your eye, but
No, I close my eyes. I close my eyes.
oh, you
I
do
close,
close your eye.
I close my eyes.
Oh,
Mhm,
and you feel the feeling of
mhm,
how you want to feel. You focus on feeling how you want to feel in your body
mhm,
now, as if you're
mhm,
already feeling those feelings,
mhm,
not necessarily focusing, okay, I see myself at, 44 pounds lighter. And I love that, because that's, like you said, the resistance. A lot of times when we focus on the end result,
mhm,
we get resistance, and it doesn't feel good because it feels like it's too big of a leap, it's too big of a gap.
yeah.
So that's why I always tell people, here's an exercise for visualizing your ideal body, but don't do it if it doesn't feel good to do it.
Yeah.
Only do it when
Yeah.
it feels good to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
On only so I recommend, and this is what I did as well. I recommend always, like, find your sweet spot. Find your sweet spot. Where does it feel the best? If that is just 1 pound or 2 pounds, perfect. Doesn't need to be anymore. It's moved. You moved your focus. So find the sweet spot, and then from there, just try to move it a little bit further until you hit resistance. And when you hit resistance, come back to where you are, start over, find your sweet spot. And again, then push it a little bit until you hit that resistance. And then slowly, 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 that resistance will move further and further away. You'll be able to go further and further. And all of a sudden, uh, one day you might find, oh, 10 pounds today. Fantastic.
Well, that,
That's my sweet spot. You
yeah.
know,
So that would imply that you are weighing yourself. And I know, like, for
I
me,
do. I
I
do.
have,
Yeah.
I go, that's like, I don't want to weigh myself. For me, it's more of feeling, oh, my clothes are getting loose.
Mhm,
Like, I don't,
mhm.
I don't want to get on the scale, because that can create a lot of resistance. So I won't
Yeah,
know if I lost 2 pounds,
yeah,
but for me, and I know many other people, it would be something else that just feels good,
yeah,
feeling lighter,
yeah.
or feeling, yeah. So again, working with your own beliefs and what works, what feels good to you.
Mhm.
And Karina, so do you actually got on the scale and would see 2 pounds?
Yes,
Okay. And
yes,
for some people that does work, that does feel good.
yeah,
But
yeah,
for others, it doesn't feel good. So you got to
yeah,
find what feels good. Yeah.
yeah. Because what I realized for myself was that not getting on the scales caused more resistance than getting on the scales.
Yeah. So it's a
And
personal thing. Yes.
and also because um because I have a very, very stubborn and strong mind. And even after losing 44 pounds, I could some days see myself as I was before I lost those pounds. I could feel that way sometimes. And I needed to be able to get onto those scales and see, oh, right, right, it's just a ghost in my head.
Mhm.
Also, because I am a coach, I am a teacher, I do this, I'm passionate about this. And I like learning the ins and the outs. I like seeing the correlation between the things I do because it helps me. I can tell, like, for instance, because I still weigh myself. I weigh myself not every day, but almost every day, um, because it's an indicator for me where I am in my alignment, and how my beliefs affect me in certain ways. So a few weeks ago, I found a bread recipe that is absolutely delicious, completely delicious. And I love this bread. love, love, love this bread, and I love it with a lot of butter. Uh,
Yum,
and
yum.
yeah, yeah, and I noticed that after eating this bread like once or twice a day for a few days, I was losing weight. Oh, not much, just like a quarter of a pound or something like that, and like, how interesting.
Mhm.
Then I didn't have this bread anymore, so I ate normal bread, and I noticed, oh, I'm putting those quarters of pounds back on again. How interesting. Because this is how I work. This is what I do. I look at everything and see, okay, so what's the correlation with this? And what I came to see, what I came to understand was because I love this bread so much,
Uh,
my soul, my inner being, my heart was so joyful, because I believe we eat for three reasons. Well, we eat for three reasons. We eat for three reasons, multiple three reasons, I should say. We eat mostly to satisfy our soul,
mm,
because that's the bigger part of us. It
mm,
wants us to enjoy everything we eat,
mm,
no matter what it is. It wants us to enjoy it. When the soul, when the inner being, when the heart enjoys what you eat, your body will be fit to take care of it. But you
mm.
have to do it resistance free.
I love that. I love that. Yes, you were so enjoying. You were
Mm-hmm.
so in the vortex with that bread. You were so happy.
So in the
Yeah.
vortex.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
yeah. Still
that's
am,
that's
still
what
am.
that's what's in, oh my gosh, I love that because that's
Mm.
what I'm doing my class right now, Love Your Body, Love Your Life masterclass, and we're on step 4, which is make friends with food
Mm-hmm.
and celebrate your food,
Yes,
because that high vibing, when you start celebrating your food, it, it, next week we're talking about how your thoughts determine your metabolism, because when you're high vibing, your
yep,
metabolism is high vibing.
absolutely, absolutely, without a doubt, without a doubt. And that was one of the things I realized as well during my journey. And when I started to lose to drop the weight, to drop the kilos or the pounds, I dropped uh, almost 20 pounds in 4 weeks, just
Wow.
like that. It was huge. It was like bang. And at that point, I had just started to listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Mm.
He'd been popping up so much in my feeds on social media and everywhere. And I'd been holding it off, because I like doing that. I like holding it off. I like building the feeling. I like building the momentum within me, because it starts with a thought and then it moves into the feeling, and then the feeling grows, it builds momentum, and then I take action.
So why do
Success
you
is
think that was with the 20
I
pounds? And,
I still wonder.
okay.
I still wonder what that was. Obviously, something that clicked into place. I'm still not sure, because I learned so much in such a short period of time, which I often do because I kind of like a sponge. So I kind of like suck it up. I don't get lost in the details, because I forget about the details. The details aren't important to me. It's all about the feeling. So, and if it feels good, it is good. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter. If I still weighed 44 kilos more and it felt good, it was good. So
Right.
but I think what happened was that it was just something that just clicked in me,
Mhm.
something that just shifted in my beliefs, in resistance, that I dropped. I allowed something differently. um, so I lost close to 20 pounds, or maybe it was 20 pounds in 4 weeks. And then I didn't lose 1 pound over the next 9 months. But I didn't put any on either. I stayed the
Right.
same. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so why is this? Why am I not moving? Why is this? Like, really happy, very grateful for the pounds I've lost. Not quite satisfied with not losing anymore, but I was like, okay, there's a reason for this. Everything is just a direct response to my vibration. So what is this all about? And I realized that, okay, so my heart, obviously my inner being, is already there. It's already where I want to be, calling me there. So what's left of me to go there? Well, it's my mind and it's my body. Okay, before my body can go there, maybe my mind has to go there. And but so I kind of like I got lost.
Yeah. So you were yeah. Yeah, well, we need to get you back because we want to hear the next part. So
Yeah, well,
it's
I
like,
want to tell the
yeah,
next part. So
yeah, no, so it was you got to a plateau as we call it
yes,
here,
exactly. I got to the
and then you
plateau.
were waiting. What maybe
Yeah,
my mind has to I have to. Are you going back to beliefs or?
yeah. But what I realized was that plateaus are there for a reason. They're there for us to catch up with where we have gone, because we don't want to move too quickly, because when we move too quickly, we don't have the solid foundation we want it to be.
Mhm.
We want to have a solid foundation. I'm all about just removing everything as much as possible and just build up the foundation solidly from the foundation and up from the base up. So that's what I realized during these 9 months. I realized, okay, so I have to align with something differently here. There's something going on. Where do my inner being want me to go? Because my mind, this is where I'm going. My mind was still stuck on where I thought I wanted to go based on where I used to be years before. But that wasn't the case. The case was that my inner being wanted something new, something fresh, something different than I've ever been before. I
Hmm.
couldn't go back. I couldn't lose any more weight until I was aligned with the new that was coming.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and you were excited about it. So excited about a
Yeah,
a new
exactly.
Karina, not
Yeah. And I
old.
had no idea what that was, because I couldn't see it. Because when we come to our hearts, we get glimpses of where we want to go, but we only get one, maybe two steps at a time,
Mhm, mhm.
because we can't actually see more steps, because who knows where we will be standing after we take this first step, because it's always going to be something better than we thought it would be when we do it this way, when we do it via the path of least resistance. It's always better than we expected it to be when we get to this next place, when we take this next step. So how can I decide the next step before I actually stand in this, ready to take that step?
Mm.
Um, so 9 months, and I just kept aligning, just kept working on my beliefs, just kept adjusting my diet to add more and more things, a few things at a time, slowly. And all of a sudden, I dropped another 5 kilos, so close, so 10, 12 pounds,
Mhm.
um, just like that in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then I had a slight plateau again, and then I dropped the rest. And it was more or less almost exactly 1 year to the date since the first pound came up.
So now it's been a year. Yeah.
It's been, it's,
Oh,
Yeah, almost a year since I lost
Yeah,
the last few pounds.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how is I mean, I like what you share a lot in the group about
Mm.
about the beliefs. You really talk a lot about
Mhm.
beliefs and
I do.
how, yeah. So tell me a little bit more about that and how things have evolved where you are now today in relation to your body and food.
Mm,
Anything else you want to sort
mm.
of add as we wrap things up here? I mean, we could talk about this for hours, actually.
Forever.
Yeah,
Yes, for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, you know, Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's all about, the neuroscience behind things and the connection with the heart and all of that. And I found that, there's a reason why we're mind, body, and heart. And Abraham provides an absolutely astonishingly amazing platform for the spiritual law of attraction practice,
Mhm.
for understanding your inner self, for understanding your heart, for understanding law of attraction. Absolutely amazing. I call it a detailed plan, a detailed um, blueprint, maybe,
Mm.
that they provide. However, the grid within, we have to fill out on our own. What it means to us, how to move, how to do it, how to understand it. Because you don't you need to understand. You can't just know. You need to understand it on a cellular level. You have to move it within. So I was always very, very extremely interested in human behavior. I was interested in psychology and why I functioned and didn't function the way I did and didn't, and other people too. So when I came across Dr. Joe Dispenza, my focus moved a lot from the spiritual part of things into the mind part of things. And um, I like learning things horizontally rather than vertically. So, I start out with learning things vertically, but then I connect them horizontally to see how do these belong with each other, to each other. So this is how I shift my beliefs. I just look at them and just understand the correlation of my thoughts, my feelings, and what I actually see in my life. My body is the first physical manifestation in my life. So I used to really not like my body. I used to resent it. I used to hate it. I used to not treat it very well. And I absolutely adore my body today. I love it, love it, love it, love it. By the way, I also want to tell, during this journey, I like, now I moved myself into eating everything, and I lost all those pounds without doing any exercise at all,
Hmm.
except for an occasional walk here and there.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, because to
I know
me,
I
it's
have
important.
I have a belief about it, exercise
Yeah.
is how I released my 30 pounds is through exercise, and I have a belief
Mm,
that without doing that, yes. So really, again, work,
mm,
anyone listening, work with your beliefs. It's
yeah.
okay. Other
Yeah.
people have their own beliefs, but that's fascinating
Absolutely.
to me because I'm like, that boggles my mind. How could that be?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just goes to show it's about your beliefs. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I decided somewhere along the lines, I think during this plateau, I decided that, okay, so I really want to reshape my body. I don't like the muscle shape that I used to have, because I used to play soccer when I was a kid. So I had really, really big calves and thighs, and I didn't like that because I'm quite short and with very short legs. So I didn't like it. It didn't feel like me. So this was one of the things that came to me during this plateau, when I started looking at why I was in this plateau, when I realized that, okay, it's about where I'm going. It's not about where I was. So it's like, okay, so I want to reshape my muscles. Well, they say you can't reshape your muscles. Well, okay, but I don't believe that. I believe I can do anything. I just need to shift my beliefs that
Mhm.
are in resistance to it. So when we hit lockdown last year, because I live in Spain, and we went to really strict lockdown mid-March last year, and we weren't allowed to even go outside for a
Mhm.
few months. I was like, oh, this is perfect, because I'm not able to use my muscles very much now unless I actually do some exercise in my home. So this is perfect, because now my muscles can just like, which they did. So uh, perfectly, of course, because that's what I wanted. We get everything we want. We get everything we want if we do not have resistance
So
to it.
so did your muscles get smaller?
Yep,
I
sure
can't
did.
relate, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I want muscle. I want tone.
Yeah, sure did. They sure did. And uh, and then a few weeks ago, I was like, okay, so maybe now it's time to start rebuilding some muscles, and to start shaping my body, because it was still a little bit like a blob, a thin blob, but still a blob.
Yeah.
Um, so I said, okay, so what can I do that's extremely easy, that doesn't take any time, and because I want to do this with as little action as possible, because I know I
Won't
can,
be easy.
because I want people to understand and know that it's actually possible.
Yes.
um, so so I'm doing the plank for like 30 seconds or so, a few times a week. That's it.
The
That's
plank. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
Awesome.
That's it.
A
But
few times a week.
yeah,
Great. Wonderful. That's it's supposed to be easy, and
yeah,
I love
yeah.
hiking, and I love moving my body. It just feels so good to
Mm,
me. And yes, but
mm,
like doing things, what has shifted for me is, instead of doing things as in order to, or for an end result, or it's very conditional, instead of just enjoying. Like yesterday, my husband and I went out on a hike, and I just enjoyed it. I just like,
mm,
oh, the
that's
wind, there
it.
was a lot of breeze and the trees, and
Yeah.
it was warmer for the first time, and just
Mm,
really, it's not like, okay, I got to get this hike in, I got to, you know, get these muscles, builds up some muscles. So just
yeah.
really enjoying all of that activity more, without and in order to.
Yeah.
Yes, so it is time to wrap it up, and I just really
Yeah.
want to thank you, Karina, for doing this
Thank
interview.
you. Thank you.
Yes. And I want to let people know that if you would like to get in touch with Karina, you can find her in the Facebook group, the Delicious Alignment hyphen Abraham hyphen Hicks Facebook group. You can join that group for free, and she's in that group. You can also go to her, you can find her on YouTube. She has a
Mhm.
YouTube channel where she speaks for 30-45 minutes. I know, I watched some of it. I forgot to tell you that. It's excellent
Yeah.
videos there on life
Yeah.
inside and out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I only started it a few months ago, the YouTube channel, so I'm still building it up. I'm still finding my way, but it's gonna be all sorts of things. It's gonna be mindset. It's gonna be hard work. It's gonna be, you know, understanding your body and things like that. So,
Yes.
you know,
So a broader range of topics, not just body
who we
and
are,
mind
yeah.
and food, broader,
Mm,
all things mind, body, and Abraham
mm,
and Joe Dispenza and all kinds of wonderful things.
mm.
Yes. Yes.
My understanding of things, really. My
Yeah. Your
understanding of it. Yeah.
yes. Yes.
Mm,
I do appreciate your contribution to the group. And I want to thank you again for being here. And I
mm.
want everyone listening to know that we at Delicious Alignment have resources for you. Again, the Facebook group, we have a Love Your Body, Love Your Life masterclass that we do. We'll be starting another one up soon. We have free gifts for you when you join the Facebook group. And again, when you need any kind of support, we are here for you. Thank
Mm.
you so much. Karina, you could stay on. I'm going to say goodbye
Yeah.
to everyone, and please watch this space for more interviews. I'm doing another interview with a lovely woman who has been in the hot seat, I understand, quite a few times.
Oh, nice.
Her name is Raven, and I can't wait to interview her. She's
Mm.
really 70 pounds also, and so that should be fun. So thank you so much,
Mm.
everyone.